Right, now here's a good point now while we're on this. When you have the auxiliary pressed here and it says auxiliary 1 through 8, this is your master section. So it's kind of like on your other board where you had individual channels that you had auxiliary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the individual channels. Then all the way on the far right side of the board you had a master volume. This is your master volume sections. So if I go to channel 19, here, this is my 1 through 8. This would be like the individual channel sends of 1 through 8. But then if I want to do the master, then I have to come over here. Now this is the master of channel 1 through 8 on my auxiliaries. So it's similar, but it's just where it's located is a little different. But it functions in the same way. All right, so let's see here. Our sends, which we have two different ways. What we've been doing by doing over here, it's just called sends on fader. And in essence, the way that works is you select the channel that you want to be on, and you press whichever one of these groups. And we need to label these because I think 1 was your choir, 2 is your, gosh, what did we wrote it down on something here? I think it was on that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, 1 is the hall, 2 is the choir, 3 is the subwoofer, 4 is the piano, and 5 is the organ. And that's how we have those set up. And so by pressing the sends on faders button on the far side over here, you're accessing which one. So if I press 1, what I'm saying is I want to send channel 19's mic out to the hall at what volume level. So I would just go to my fader right here, and that's going to either increase or lower my volume of this mic going to the hall. So as you can see right now, we basically have every channel going to, we'll bring them up like this, and no matter what microphones you have open, it's going to be feeding to the hall, which is what we want to do. There's really nothing that we don't want to feed to the hall. So in the setup we have right now, everything is being fed to the hall. Okay, in number 2, there's certain things that we don't want to feed in the choir mics. I mean the choir monitors. One of those things is you don't want to feed the choir mics themselves in there. So we need to look at the channels that we have our choir mics in and make sure they're not fed back onto themselves. So we have the choir mics in what channels?
Choir mics are 15, 16, right. 11, and 12.
So let's do 15 and 16. So in 15, we're now looking at aux 2, and they're all off, which is great. 16, same thing. And what were the other ones?
15, 16, 11, and 12.
11 and 12. So we'll go over to 11. And they're all off. Go to 12 and they're all off. So perfect. So we don't have anything fed into the choir mics that we don't want. Okay, number 3 is the subwoofer. Really the only thing that you need fed into the sub would be your piano, your organ, and your music. Those are really the main things there. So let's go through them. So what channel is your piano on?
Piano's on 9.
Okay, select 9. Okay, 9. Okay, there you go.
And organ's 10.
Okay. And what else?
And music is 23 and 24.
There you go, and they're kind of there already. Very good. Okay, perfect. So you've just set what you want to the subwoofer. Okay, number 4 is the piano mic. So what is the piano person most likely going to hear? They want to hear themselves. So whatever the piano channel is. Now right now we have just about everything going to the piano mic because she's going to want, monitor. She's going to want to hear all the vocalists on stage. She is going to want to hear the choir mics. So I guess you could send everything to her, but you might want to make her piano a little louder than everything else. So whatever channel her piano's on, channel 9, I'll bring it up.
10, excuse me. We have 25 and 26 locked again.
Okay, we'll look back at that in just a second.
What is 25 and 26? Nothing.
I thought that was the music. Okay, they're nothing.
But 23 and 24.
Yeah, I think 25 and 26 are your effects sends, and they're like right and left, so you could leave them linked.
So put the organ on the piano, both piano and organ to her.
Right. And then a little bit of, you want to make sure that she gets a little bit of everything else. You want her choir mics in there, all the handheld vocal mics. Anybody that's singing, she needs to hear the music. So just go through and bring all those up. 15 and 16. And then change your layer. There you go. And she's got a little bit of that because we were singing earlier and she was getting all of those. And then let's do basically the same setting for the organ, which is on your auxiliary number 5. So now we'll go to, yeah, that's your effects. So you would want to pull that down because I don't think she's going to want the effects in her monitor mix right now.
Why would 25 and 26 be?
Linked because they're stereo effects for your reverb.
Okay, this controls the effects.
Mm-hmm. So what you're doing here is you're saying that you want to send a reverb send into an effects send, which you would not. So I would bring that down. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go over to auxiliary number 5, which is the organ.
Why would we not pull these down?
Well, let's see, you're on 17 and 32. Yeah, you could pull those down because there's nothing in those that needs to feed over there.
So we got her podium, we got the lapel.
Okay, well that would be actually right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's your podium.
We got the 9, 10, 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got lapel, handheld, Randy, and
some music if she's playing along with a track.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got all this. So now let's basically set the same thing up for the organist. Select your next one. Yep, let's go through the organ settings. Back to 1. You getting all this, Zachary? Mm-hmm. Very good. All right, the only other thing I can think of that you might want to send in there is go to your DCA groups on your 3rd layer. It should be back over here. You want to make sure that there for those DCAs, the subgroups are fed through there. So you got a bunch of stuff in that you don't need necessarily. You could pull all those auxiliaries down. Yeah, see that, but that you do want to feed to her.
Yeah.
But all the rest of those you can basically pull down because they're not going to. Just leave those 4 DCA groups.
Okay.
Yeah, you take that matrix down there. There we go. So that'll feed anything that way if you're running a subgroup, she's still going to get it. Okay.
Same thing with the...
yeah, go back to the piano mix and do the same thing with it, which I think is 4. Yeah, well, they're in there on 4 too, so you're good. Okay. All right, so what's our next monitor mix? Or is that it?
That's it.
Okay, so all your monitors are basically set. So any questions so far with what we're doing? Because I know we've covered a lot of stuff. So we've talked about compression and gating, talked about equalization, we've talked about patching, as far as putting things in mute groups. Let's create a secondary mute group. Let's do that. All right, so let's go back to layer number 1. Yeah, you would think that the layers would be 1, but actually that's layer 1 down there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to assign certain things to the mute group and take other things out. So let's leave the podium mic open. So we're going to leave channel 1 open, but we want to mute everything. Yeah, take that off. Okay, so now we're gonna put channel 1 and leave it there, but everything else we want to mute but channel 1. So what we're going to do is go ahead and select number 2 up in your select. There you go. Now click on your DCA group right there. Okay, now we're going to assign mute group 2. So press 2. Okay, now just leave that open.
Leave 1 and 2.
Yeah, leave 1 and 2 pressed. Go ahead and go to 3. And what you're going to do is you're just going to press the next button and go 2 and just keep walking right down the line. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and assign everything other than that. We're going to leave the pastor's lapel mic open, and we're going to leave the podium mic open. I've had to start and stop that a couple of times. It's still going. Okay, go to your next layer and do the same thing. Now leave the pastor's lapel mic open. So what is his lapel chap? I think it's on 17.
17.
Okay, so you don't want to put it in the mute group, but okay, go to the next one. There you go. Just walk on through it.
Is the iPad communicating to the board through Wi-Fi?
through that ad hoc Wi-Fi card.
Okay, so everything's
All right, so now we've got them all there. So now what we want to do is we want to store it to another button over here. Let's go set up user preferences. Now what we're going to do is we're going to store in the user button. We're going to go to button number 2, and we're going to do a mute group. And it is mute group number 2. Did I just undo all the parameters? So we're leaving 1, 2, 3. No, it's number 2. That's where it is. So now, group 2, and we want to store it to. See how when I hit it, how it lights up the ones that we've done. So now that's 2. So if I hit 1, let's go back to channel. So if I hit 1, it mutes everything. If I take that off, and I just hit mute group 2, so if you notice we're on channel 1's here, and I hit 2, see how it left 1 open, and over here, how it left 17.
Why did it leave those two on?
That's your music channels. Just